Thank you all for coming to this small but significant ceremony. I'm delighted to welcome Mike Freer, who is the MP for Finchley and Golders Green, not actually the local MP, but a real friend of the school and a huge friend of the Jewish community. Let the proceedings commence. If you would, please, Mr. Goodman. So how wonderful to have a little piece of Jewish scripture. I'm sure you all recognised it from the Latin translation. It of course comes from Genesis and Exodus. And I'm sure you can all do the Latin translation too. This place was made by God at Christ the Sacrament without reproach. Nice to have a bit of Latin, a bit of Hebrew scripture, set to music by a German in the Catholic tradition to open and inaugurate these wonderful mosaics. I'm going to hand straight over to you, Mike, to say whatever you would like to say to enlighten us on this auspicious occasion.
Well, first of all, it's great to come back, and when I walked in and just saw the artwork, it really was inspiring. And just following on from that kind of melange of Hebrew tradition and Catholic tradition and German, I was a Sunday school teacher in my youth, and so it seems rather fitting to follow on from that kind of mixture of religious traditions to come and see the exhibition of the creation. And I have to say, I don't speak any Hebrew, so
we can sort that out for you if you like.
We can get Hebrew classes at the House of Commons because some of the colleagues are actually learning Hebrew, and but I think that I'd get into enough trouble actually being the MP without crashing through Hebrew on a regular basis as well. But Sue, the artist, stunning. Two. I have to say that the leadership that obviously you've shown to the pupils in creating what is an enormously professional exhibition is really quite amazing. I was hopeless at art at school, I have to say. And whenever I'm married to a teacher, and whenever I say I was bad at this or bad at that at school, I was always told, well, you must have had a bad teacher. And I have to say that if you'd been taught me art, then hopefully I would have done something as good as that. It really is quite spectacular. Now, who was involved in actually putting everything together? The whole group?
Well, all of these people and some of the students.
Well, you should be very proud. And every day when you come in and you see that, that really should give you enthusiasm to carry on with your studies and continue to inspire you to keep going, even if art isn't your first choice, as it wasn't for mine. Then clearly with inspiring teachers, you can make a success of it. And it really is quite fantastic. And I'm very delighted to have been asked to cut the ribbon. Thank you.
There you go.
Would someone like to share this?
Has anybody done the wrist assessment?
Come and share. Yeah? It's upside down behind. We've got a photographer. There we go. Excellent.
I would just like to say a few short words, pretty much about the process. So when God said at the beginning of the Bible, Bereshit bara Elohim, and God created the world, it seemed like a very simple process. But as we know, when science meets Jewish thought, the two things don't necessarily mean exactly what we read when we read that first little verse, that God created the world and the world was created. And I think Sue and Susie will agree that it did not just come from nothing. It came from a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of huge commitment. And I think that I would not be untrue by saying when Sue got a totally random phone call from me about 2 years ago saying, I found you online and I'd love you to come to our school and create something spectacular. She had no idea what she was letting herself in for. But what we have created, and it really is, Sue and Susie, a beautiful, exquisite, mesmerizing piece of community art. From the students that helped, initially I think you were one of the original people that created the actual design, and the students that put hours and hours of time into creating it, the staff that are here that have been involved, the parents that have been hours and hours in the Jewish Ed faculty putting little pieces of mosaic together, the governors, the trustees, and anybody else I could drag in to come and help us really create something utterly, utterly beautiful. And I also thank the two of you because Sue and Susie brought you in from their mosaic making craft classes, and you also have helped us make something utterly beautiful. The 7 days of creation are representative of who we are as a school. We've got the separation of light and dark, we've got the earth and the waters, we've got the third day, we've got the beautiful vegetation, followed by the luminaries, the stars and the moon and the sun, the fishes and the little creepy crawlies, followed by the fifth day, which I find utterly, everybody's got a favourite bit. And one of my favourite bits is the little bit coming down for the spider's web. It's gorgeous. Go and look. I'll ask you all to go and have a look closely and touch it all in a minute. And the thing that sort of inspires me every day when I walk into school is the seventh panel. And it went through many incarnations. It was really a traditional looking Shabbat day of the Sabbath. And actually what we came up with is so fully JCoSS. And it is beautiful, I think, and inspiring for all of us to look. Who would have thought within a Jewish school we would see Arabic, Hebrew and English together? And that is utterly, utterly part of the absolute essence and the heart of who we are as a school. And of course, having Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim Chaim, these and these are the words of the living God, really brings together all of the values that we at JCoSS try to present to our students and then to share with the community around us. So it has been 2 years in the making. It is absolutely beautiful, and I thank you so much, and thank you all for joining us today, and Mike, thank you so much for coming today from a very busy schedule in town. I see Mike often on a Friday. I don't work on a Friday. My little boy outside Waitrose in Finchley, and my little boy Jacob, who's 4, I say, who is this man? And he says, he works in the House of Parliament, Mummy. And I make him shake his hand, and this morning I said, Mike Freer is coming to school, and both of my children said, Mike, who works at the Houses of Parliament. So thank you so much for joining us. And please, you're all invited to come and have a cup of tea, a glass of not champagne, and a little pastry. But before you do, we just have a little something for Sue and Susie that will not... oh, is it going to appear? Lovely. So thank you both so much. Please come and have a pastry and tea over in our new cafe. Or come and have a closer look.